Well, it's December 2nd, 2012, and it's like 80 something degrees out here. Yeah, I'm starting to believe in this global warming thing, and I'm not hating it yet. We'll see what happens in a couple of years. So I've been trying to think. I'm hearing in the news about this thing going on in Syria, and first of all, I can't fathom what it must be like to have your own country basically rip in half, and one half of the country try to kill the other half. Of course, I can't wrap my head around that. Nothing's ever prepared me for this sort of thing. So one of the big things that went on in the news is that the Syrian government has attempted to shut off the internet in their country, and this made the news with a shockwave of information. People were very upset that they were cut off from what's going on in the country. The news now has become how the Syrian government has cut off the country from the internet, what bits are getting through, and the fact that some people have satellite connections and this sort of thing, and there's still some information getting out. The fact that the Syrian government is so upset that so many videos make the internet, and that this is tipping public opinion of the world against the Syrian government. But just as many videos come out about how bad the rebels are to the people, how bad the government is to the people, and the people being oppressed from multiple angles by their. What's the point in the revolution is what I want to know. What exactly were people who started the revolution trying to do, and who is trying to take over the country? From what I understand, there are outside forces trying to peddle influence inside Syria, and they're calling it a revolution. I thought that was a war. It sounds more like an invasion, because when the news stories come out about what's going on inside the country, yeah, you have some people from inside the country doing the fighting, but you also have a lot of people from outside the country coming in and doing fighting against the Syrian government. And the Syrian government's getting it from both ends. I keep hearing from news sources that it's different groups of people coming into the country and fighting, and what it makes me think of is the fact that different countries start talking to one another, and when different countries start talking to one another, and I'm not talking about the countries themselves, I'm talking about the governments of the countries. I'm talking about having a freedom of expression and the ability for people inside a country who are citizens of that country, the freedom for them to travel back and forth between countries, and the freedom of them to communicate back and forth between countries. Up until now, it's been extremely expensive as a percentage of income to travel from one place to another. This happened up until about 100 years ago, when travel got a lot cheaper. And now it's gotten to the point where it's almost free to communicate once you get over the initial purchasing a computer and maintaining an internet connection. It's relatively inexpensive to communicate all around the world. Especially considering as expensive as it used to be. It's become so much more reliable. It's become nearly instantaneous everywhere that has internet anyway. And up until today, I hadn't thought about what that means. It's not that it's become one world, because we all still believe in different things. But I have a feeling that in a generation or two, that's going to start fading away. And people are going to start looking at the lines between countries and say, why is this line here? I know more about my neighboring country. I feel more akin with the people in my neighboring country than I do in my country. I feel more akin with the people in this country clear across the other side of the planet than I do with my own country. And they're going to want to move. And in a lot of cases in the world, they don't have that freedom. They can't just pick up and leave because their government won't let them. There's some people in the United States who aren't allowed to leave for whatever reason. I mean, it could be anything. If you have too many traffic tickets, they don't want you to get a passport. I mean, that's how things work. At the moment, we have the ability to communicate back and forth across borders using the internet. And from what I understand, from what I keep seeing in the name of copyright protection and the name of intellectual property rights, our ability to communicate from one place to another across the world, and who knows, maybe even back and forth to the moon and Mars pretty soon, is going to be hindered because the people who have the money, the people who have the power, want to keep that power. They don't want to let someone else come along and usurp them. Usurp has a bad taint to it, but I'll be honest with you, they don't want the the base of their power to migrate to another leadership. They don't want to lose power. And they think that by stopping communication that they can prevent this. The powers that be think that they can draw lines on the internet and put up walls and stop people from communicating from one place to another. But what they have done is they're trying to have it both ways. They're trying to let people use the internet for commerce, let people use the internet for paying bills, let people use the internet for business, and not let them use it for finding a better way of life. And I hate to tell you this, all of those kind of melt together. If you prevent people from communicating over the internet and you prevent people from learning over the internet, you will prevent them from using it for anything other than paying their light bill. And once that happens, they'll find another way to communicate. They'll find another way to learn. They'll find another way to pursue freedom and pursue their own choices. In short, I think cutting the internet off from a people who are in trouble is really, really a bad idea for a government. The government has already lost at that point, and I see our government of the United States trying to find ways to limit and monitor what people are saying over the internet. The problem I have is I do not believe in anonymity. I think that people on the internet should have to use their real name. And I think that people on the internet should be trackable. Because I have been a victim of trolling. And if you don't know what trolling is, it's when somebody just pops on your page for one comment and they say, oh, you're an asshole, you're full of crap, and they disappear. And they think that nobody can find them. And is that their true opinion? Well, I think we should define opinion. You don't have an opinion unless you're willing to put your name on it. Unless you are willing to sign your opinion, it's not an opinion, it's just trolling. And I want to leave with that thought. What does anybody else think about that out there? I know there's some vloggers who watch my vlog. What do you think about that? It's not an opinion unless you sign it.